right, Steiny and Guru with you. We're joined by Marc Grandi and Dan Dibley. It is the crossover. And Uncle Looney on the YouTube chat says,
Uncle Looney.
Grandi and Evan are doing a great job. And I told him,
thanks, Uncle Looney.
Yeah, I said, the reason is because Guru and I are not like Steph, Clay, and Draymond. We're inclusive with the youngsters.
Dibs, too.
We have allowed them to blossom as we are in our primes. We're not selfish about attention. Mm-hmm.
Well, Guru is Steph, and it's just a question of whether or not you or me is Draymond. Who's Draymond, me or you?
The biggest compliment he's ever given you.
No, and I've told him.
You don't got to explain this.
No, you
Let
are.
It breathe.
And I mean, Bob Myers mentioned you this morning on the road.
I heard that, but I haven't heard it.
Oh, no.
They must have brought me up.
No, they did, and I don't know if they did, but he was like, yeah, Guru, and I love Guru, and Guru this, and Guru that, and you're the Steph.
That's my guy.
Yeah. I think Bonte and Shasky said, Goo's going to come strolling in here at 2 o'clock and be like, why wasn't he on with us?
He was.
Those are my guys.
And then
that was my first thought.
And then,
stop it.
And then Bob said, I wish I had some more Goo in my life.
I text him, tell
He's
me
used
doing a
that
good
line
job.
already.
He'll text me randomly, too.
Right.
He used that line
Lucas,
already.
I was waiting for the loop, but it didn't happen.
So he's got no new material.
Who?
Myers. It was 2 years ago. He goes, I need more goo in my life. He couldn't think of anything else
And
to say.
Spadoni actually hit him with the drop, and Bob said, was that a drop?
Hey, I heard
Who
that
dropped
part.
Me?
That
Who
was
dropped
great.
me?
Yeah, I was getting
It's
off
pretty
the car.
funny.
Stop whopping me.
And that tells you that Bob is a P1. He's a diehard listener.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know what the Mike Dunleavy era, how many chips they'll get and when they'll get them, but just hearing Bob and looking at the spectrum or the landscape of sports, we are spoiled here with the 4 that they won under Bob.
Yeah. But they'll get a 5th with Steph just because,
this guy, the master of making me say something I didn't say.
I want Grandi to say what he said before the show.
Oh, boy.
Because it made me think, and I said, you know what? I'm not mad at you for that.
Tupac.
Do you have the guts to say it now?
Oh, my goodness.
I'll dive into it more during the show coming up at 2.
But we were talking about what's a successful season,
and it was all,
what's not. Yeah. It's this first.
And it was based off of what Anthony Slater said on the morning roast earlier today. I know you guys played that sound a couple of times. Do I sound crazy if I say I think this season already, no matter how it winds up, is already a success? This season is already a success.
I'll ask you to elaborate.
Yeah, I'll ask you to say that to Steph.
And that's where I was going. No, but why?
That's one guy is bigger.
Say it to Clay. Say it to Draymond.
Dibs, she's speaking my language.
That's part of it. That's part of it. I mean,
those guys would never say, you know what?
Never.
Yeah, you're right.
They started this season with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney as their starting 5. 4 of those 5 guys have gone through something terrible. Draymond got suspended twice, and the conversation was, all right, we're done with Draymond. Time to get rid of him. Andrew Wiggins has been bad, inconsistent all season to the point where Warriors fans wanted to trade him at the deadline, and now that they didn't do that, they want to trade him this offseason. Kevon Looney can't see the floor for a single second anymore, and Klay Thompson, don't call it a demotion, got demoted to the bench.
Yep.
4 of your 5 starters, something bad has happened to them this season.
Preach.
And yet, you're 4 games over 500.
What seed
and
are we,
Steve
Brandon?
Kerr admitting to us yesterday they didn't expect anything from their 2 rookies. Guess what? You got something from both of your rookies. You would not have gotten it otherwise unless those 4 guys in their starting lineup struggled. This is a success, and I know that they're probably not going to win a championship. Yeah. But considering everything that has happened to them this year, and them being 4 games over 500, and their future is brighter as a result of the struggles they've gone through this year, I can't feel like it's not a success.
It's a loser mentality.
Yeah, he lowered the bar.
So
no,
you know what?
Captain over here. Look at Steiny.
I got you for 20 more minutes.
This guy's been rooting against him forever. So whatever. His opinion about this is you root against is what you do.
Grandi, don't fall for it.
Your voice goes up when they lose.
What does that have to do with
it has
agreeing
to do with how
Grandi?
your opinion is colored. And
how?
Because what Grandi is saying, okay, then let's shut them all down. It's already been a success.
Oh, that's not what he's saying.
Bench Steph.
I'm just saying the success versus failure of this season does not rest on what they do in the postseason.
See, I think
that's
it does.
all it does.
They still can do something.
They'd be a 12 seed right now without the young guys.
But they're a 10 seed, which is, a 12 seed.
No,
what romper room are you guys watching for this constitute a success?
Don't you see?
Success doesn't start until this playing stuff starts. When did that change?
The older guys aren't good enough anymore. Wow. If they didn't have the young guys, they wouldn't even be this much of a factor.
Steph Curry's good enough.
That's fine. But Clay isn't.
Is too.
Then why are they 34 and 30?
What's your ultimate goal, guys? If you're going to say
winning
it's
a championship, obviously, but we've been spoiled by this franchise. They've won 4 championships, and now the fan base feels like it's commonplace and it's expected. This franchise went 40 years without a championship.
Wow. I need my cookie or treat. Or
there's some out there in the lobby for you.
Dibs, I don't
you
get
need a Capri Sun in a trophy because everyone gets a trophy right now in this conversation.
This is a success.
It's not a success. And if you limp into the 10 and you lose the 10-9 game, and Steph Curry goes to the podium and he'll say, you know what, guys, I think that this year was a success. Darn it.
Right.
Because, Podziemski was good and TJD got better. And you know what, darn it, Moses Moody played his level best. And man, when I saw Guy Santos, sure, Guy looked really good. Guys, this is a success.
No, man.
If they lose in the play-in, it's because of the veterans, not the young guys. Yeah. The only reason they would even make the play-in is because of the young guys.
But who in the organization would say this year was a success? Nobody.
Not one person.
Not one person.
Well, yeah, because that sounds like excuses. They're not going to openly admit that. But I think they can realize that actually what has occurred this season is unexpected and is setting themselves up for success in the future.
This is the first time in the Steph Curry era where they've ever had even a sliver of this much of an input from young players. It's just, they've got 4 young players who are in the rotation. I'm just not glossing over that for a team that hasn't played young players in a decade.
You don't have to gloss over it, but you also don't have to say that it becomes a success. If you wind up the year at 44 and 38 and you get bounced in the play-in, it doesn't mean that, oh, you know what, darn it, TJD had 25 good games. It's a success. That, to me, is a loser mentality.
Okay.
For a team that's a 4-time champion, you don't look at this and say it was a success.
Did they underachieve? If they finish 10th and lose?
Yes, they underachieved. Absolutely.
Why? But why would they have underachieved?
Because they blew more close games than any team in the
veteran
association.
Players. So, hey, Steph, you know what, Steph?
You underachieved.
Well, no, you might have been great, but your cohorts weren't good enough. Your old friends that you want to keep this together for, they aren't good enough anymore. They've proved it 2 years in a row. I mean, I get it. If we're going to get bogged down in success, so Grandi, you're not going to win that argument.
But he can dig in. We got 4 hours.
But I absolutely, positively am with him in terms of growth. They have a chance to not go as far this year as they did last year, but they're set up better for next year than they were set up this year after last year.
They might actually win more games this year than they did last year, too, which I know you mentioned earlier.
About that.
Wake me up when you win more games in the playoffs.
Thank you.
That means nothing.
Exactly. Okay. The regular season is meaningless.
That's all.
Okay, so I'm telling you right now, they're not going to. They're not getting as far.
You can feel that way,
just
but we don't
go
know.
with me. They ain't getting as far as last year.
They might get as far. They might win
one
a series.
Constitutes them getting as far.
Well, no, then they got to go to 7 games.
Because I thought last year was a circus before the ball was tipped open tonight with Draymond Poole and all that.
Was.
And they
last
got to
year
a second
they did
round.
not have to win any play-in games. They got the most inexperienced team they could possibly face in the first round. No play-in and a Sacramento Kings team with no experience. Like, that's got to be taken into consideration why they got to the second round this year. Otherwise, you could say they're essentially the same team.
All right,
as this
Dibs,
year.
help me out, and Grandi, you tell me what you think, because I've been trying to sell this to Steiny.
It's a tough sell.
I've never liked one player over the team. We've been going back and forth. Come on, man. I was a Warrior fan before Curry even got here. Listen to what I'm telling you. To me, if I'm Joe Lacob, and he's giving us some indication of where his mindset is at, I owe Steph Curry, him still playing at this level, I need to maximize what he has left. And to me, what he has left is good enough to get another trophy. I got to go out, and it's apparent now, it's clear as day, and get him a bad boy. Who that bad boy is, I don't know. What that cost is, I don't know. But what we do know is he told Kawakami there could be big changes, and he called Jeannie Buss to see the availability of LeBron James, and there's a cost in that. So that leads me to believe this, when you guys know it's success, yes, success for all the guys, the youngsters that played and showed they could play, but Steph Curry is not driving home telling Aisha and the kids this was a successful season. He needs some help.
You have put Steph Curry above the organization. You have. You just, you're not the only one.
He's earned that.
Okay.
And he's still playing
just
at a high level.
Just acknowledge that.
No, I'm trying to get something next to my best player. What else do I care about?
I care about
the future of maybe.
I still care about what's coming up after Steph.
Okay, see, I'm not there.
I'm not ready to go 5 years without playoffs.
I'm not. I'm trying to maximize,
especially when another title is an extreme long shot. It's not at their fingertips, in my way of thinking.
It's also one thing, Goo, to just say, go out and get me a bad boy, but I mean, in reality, what bad boy is going to come in here and make this team suddenly a legit championship contender?
I don't know.
What bad boys available?
Done that? I'm just asking, what if the Lakers flame out and he feels different and he's ready to be a warrior if Joe Lacob were to call him? You're telling me he's going to say, I'm keeping all these youngsters, who I like, by the way, but at what cost? Man, this is about Curry and what's left, and there's a lot left. If he had help, top-tier help.
Sure. And, you're going to move off of Chris Paul, and Clay's not making 42, and if you can do something with Wiggins, now you're looking at $90 million that you aren't spending this year, that you won't spend next year, and so you can maybe make some sort of a move for a, quote, big boy. And I'm not trying to discount what the young players have done this year, but whatever they've done this year has not made this year a, quote, success, and I think you're setting the bar too high about NBA Finals or Western Conference Finals. For me, the over-under was always 4.5 playoff wins. Can you win 4.5 games in the playoffs? And I think Steiny's on the under, and Grandi's probably on the under, and I'm not counting play-in games. I'm counting playoff wins. If I put the over-under at 4.5 playoff wins.
So a series and one.
Yeah, a series and don't get swept is basically where the line is. Most people would say it's the under. So that, to me, is where the bar is for this team to be a, quote, success. If you can get into the playoffs and win a series, that to me makes you a success.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Why do I have to talk?
You don't.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was on
good legal.
Yeah.
Steiny, what's more likely, another championship with Steph or post-Steph? Though if you're talking about chances, I think they're both long shots at this point. All I'm saying is I'm not trying to hit a grand slam with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th with an older guy when I got young guys that I still need to find out about. That's all.
Well, I think there's also a realistic possibility that, say, next year, and maybe who knows what happens with Clay, but say next year, Kuminga fits perfectly all season long into a number 2 aside from Steph. And you said it yourself, Steph still has so much left in the tank.
No Draymond suspension.
No Draymond suspension. And I mean, we still know he's playing at a high level. I mean, you could have a mix of Steph and Draymond, maybe not Clay, plus Pajemski, plus JK. Who knows what it looks like with Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, you talk about getting a big guy, big boy, bad boy, whatever, a star. I mean, who's to say that gives you a better chance at winning than continuing to let at least some of your young guys develop and maybe help you win in a year or two when Steph is still really freaking good? Is he still really good, as you said, Goo?
Yeah, I hear you. It's apparent now. Jokic has Murray. Jokic has Porter Jr. Kawhi has Paul George. Tatum has Brown. Brown has Tatum.
Yeah, Tim Duncan and Tony Parker had Kawhi. Maybe Kuminga is the new Kawhi.
No doubt. But right now, I don't think he's to that point. And he may take off in the playoffs, and they go on a run, and I come back and say, I didn't know he could do it.
So you're gonna go for a surefire number 2 big boy, and you're gonna give away
not
your highest number 2 big boy possibility that's on the team.
And as crazy as that sounds right now, because that guy is nameless, we don't know who that is. I would be willing, and I think the owner would be willing to listen or even, get on the phone if he has some names on that list. But I will say this. For me, this season's been a disappointment because I've been on the hill hoping that Andrew Wiggins would just revert back to 2022. And Dibs, it's okay now. We've almost had the funeral. It ain't yet. Nobody's died. But they need him if they're going to do anything.
Well, you've called next to kin. And you've let them know that you may want to book your flights and you may want to clear your schedule, because I do think that if you really want to be a team next year that can make noise or get a big boy and all the rest of it, he can't be a part of it. At 24 or whatever the number is next year, 25 million, he just can't be.
If you're disappointed in the way this season's gone, to me, it's because Andrew Wiggins has been terrible.
Gotcha.
Klay Thompson has had a brutal adjustment to where he's at in his career.
He's been mediocre.
Draymond Green missed 20 games because he's a head case. Steph Curry has not been as efficient as he's been in years past.
Close, but not enough to carry the team.
Kevon Looney has fallen off the face of the earth. That's why they're disappointing, not because of Podziemski, Kuminga, Moody, and Trace Jackson-Davis.
Right,
So you're gonna get rid of the young players to bring a big boy in here to pair with the guys who for the last 2 years have not been able to get it done, the veterans outside staff.
You're not going to get rid of any of the young guys to bring in a big boy, in my opinion.
Okay.
You're going to clear out Chris Paul and maybe Klay.
That's different.
You're going to trade Wiggins for whatever you can get, pennies on the dollar. Fine. You're going to clear out all the salary and have a spot to where you can maybe get a big boy in. And I know the free agent list is not great, but you get Giannis if he comes out and he's disappointed with how things end there, or LeBron James, who has a player option, if he decides that he wants to chase one more ring and he wants to come here, and the Warriors draft Bronny Jr.
Do you think Steph and Bron can work? Steiny was asking, like, Bron, they like to run. He doesn't run. Do you think Steph and Curry can work?
For sure. A 40-year-old LeBron James, absolutely. I think that he could be, I think that he could play in more of the Steph role, working off the ball with Draymond Green and the high pick and roll. You put LeBron as your new point guard and let him just do point things. Imagine that, if LeBron and Draymond in a high screen pick and roll, and LeBron gets by the screen and you got Steph to kick out to, or LeBron goes to the basket, or you kick it back to Draymond and then you can run your offense that way.
Yeah.
It's pie in the sky, but I do think it could work.
And I'm not against it, Goo. Yeah. I'm not against, if the perfect situation exists, okay, LeBron and Steph, I think that could work, and they're legitimately a championship contender. Okay, I would seriously consider moving on from Wiggins and Moody or whatever it would take to get that done. But I'm not going to get rid of all my future assets to make room for someone like DeMar DeRozan or someone like that, right? Like, he's a good player, and he would make this team better, but is he going to make him and Steph, is that a championship team? DeMar DeRozan? I don't think so.
He's not good enough.
It has to be the exact perfect situation, perfect fit. It all works out, and you got a swing, maybe two swings at a title. But if that situation does not exist, and it probably doesn't, I'm going to write it out with the young guys who have been pretty promising this year.
Just like I told Steiny, I'm a dreamer by nature. If you want to go to a whiteboard right now and get real as you possibly can, and I've told this to Steiny and the listeners, Draymond doesn't get suspended, yada, yada, yada. Let's just say of the 15 games, they go 10-5. That's 5 more wins. Maybe you're not really a 10th seed.
Well, then why do you want to get rid of the youngsters if you think you're a better team than you are?
Because the biggest part of that, we are about to see once they play in the play-in and hopefully get to the playoff.
They're going to struggle. The young players are probably going to struggle in the postseason.
And that's the other part of this I don't like. We're set tripping. We're watching Warrior games now saying, oh, the youngsters play. I don't like to do that. They're a collective. I told you that. So we'll be able to see, okay, yeah, maybe the bright lights were too big, but let's just say that happened to Pods. I wouldn't dare come in here and say that negated all the growth.
No, next year they'll probably be better in the postseason.
And they might not be a 10th seed either without a Draymond suspension. So my thing is, we're going to see that team get a chance to cause some noise this year in the playoffs.
I know nobody wants to hear this, but you trade Kuminga and Wiggins for LeBron James. You've gotten rid of your 2 best wing defenders. I know Wiggins, I've been ripping him up, but don't rob Wiggins of being this two-way guy. Okay, well, you've robbed him because You're going to stink defensively.
But do you think Joe Lacob would have done
and
that?
I'm not necessarily.
Jeannie said that's what it takes.
Well, I don't know what the deal was.
Okay.
I would not give up Kuminga, Wiggins, and 2 picks for LeBron James because it's going to cost you one more young guy,
Randy,
too.
I wouldn't either.
And could you imagine trading Kuminga to the Lakers and have him haunt you for the next 10 years? If he turns out to be a legit star, he's 21 years old. He's scoring 20 points a game.
Yeah, no chance. The only way you're going to bring in a, quote, big boy to me is through free agency or somebody who wants out, or if it's LeBron who wants to opt out and sign for a lot less just to try to get one more chip with Steph and Draymond. That to me is the only way. You're not trading Kuminga.
Right.
Wiggins is worth almost nothing.
Man.
As you saw at the deadline, they shopped Kuminga and there were no bites. I'm sure that the offers they got back were like, we'll give you 5 seconds.
Pennies on the dollar.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Just for kicks, what about a guy like Giannis?
Oh, my God.
He'd be great.
Yeah.
He'd be great.
Who do you want?
He's got,
so you would
3
give
more
up,
years?
Oh, my God. Up the total house for Giannis.
Oh, my goodness.
Right.
As long as Steph was here.
Okay. I don't know.
We could fill out the roster.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
sure.
How I feel.
I think I do that too.
I'm looking at Milwaukee now, and they've got some.
It ain't his fault, though. Yeah, stuff is rotting around him.
Damian Lillard. He's got Middleton. And he's got, who else?
And they ain't had Middleton in a while, so I need to slow up on criticizing them, saying it ain't working.
I mean, I'm not saying no to Giannis, but he's the only guy. I'm not trading for a 40-year-old LeBron James for one crack at it.
No, you're not
Steph.
trading for LeBron. You're hoping that he opts out. He has a player option.
Okay.
You would hope that he opts out to come here and play for less.
Oh, my gosh.
To try to chase
way less.
Yeah,
what
way
about
less.
Embiid?
Yeah.
What about Joel Embiid?
Giannis's contract is 60 plus. You can't afford Giannis and Steph. You just can't. Giannis's number is crazy.
No, but if Giannis says I'm leaving after, he signed an extension, but if he says he wants out, somebody will make the money work. I get that, but no, LeBron. 40 years old.
Yeah, I think he would. Old LeBron, I'd be like young LeBron, which is old
Dude,
LeBron. I'd be
old
like, let's
LeBron
go.
is like
but this one, Grandy,
like Tom Brady.
I was shocked that he called, and maybe Draymond has something to do. I don't know, but
I'm just doing due diligence.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked at all. And
because you watch the Lakers and Bron,
if the Lakers flame out this year,
man.
That's fine. If the Lakers flame out this year, and it's because Anthony Davis is his on again, off again self. I would not be stunned if LeBron looked to play elsewhere.
They're playing good right now.
Well, they are.
Sure.
I mean, they got to the Western Conference Finals last year. I'll just leave that there.
Anthony Davis says they're hitting their stride.
They got the Kings tonight in Sac.
I have no feel for that.
AD will get dominated by
you think so?
Sabonis.
He's never beaten Sabonis in his career, right?
That's amazing.
How many games is it? Like 10?
It's a team game, that's why. It's not about individuals.
If you watched the last one in L.A.
Now, LeBron will win you some fantasy games. Just kick him to the curb. Poor young guy's been working their ass off all year, and this is the way we treat them.
They
finally earning the trust of the fans and the media and the coaching staff.
Yeah. And they're it's gritty little 10 seed.
What is it, Gin? When do you discard?
Hey, Dibs, watch out for the Rockets. I know I just did that to get at you, but dude, I'm just saying.
You think the Rockets are going to catch the Warriors?
No, but I'm like, for you, us, they're going to get to the 6th seed, and I was thinking that was real. The Rockets be like, we can catch the Warriors if they got 6 out of 8.
Yeah. The Warriors went 13-4, and they went from the 12 to the 10, and they gained 3 games in the process. So the 6, it's like Saran.
Well, it's a wrap.
Thank you.
888. Well, I'm not giving the number out. It's your show.
The phones are locked anyway.
It's your show.
You can set it up
phone
for
problems
us.
again, Lucas?
No. They
lock
lock them during the crossover.
They did?
You've never noticed?
I haven't.
Wow.
You locked in on the crossover.
We shouldn't have told them that information.
Yeah, you are.
If we get tired of them, we'll lock the phones
Lucas,
anyway.
unlock the phone. Steiny, give the number. Give a hard sell on the calls for us.
The number is Mavericks by 11 tonight.
Please.
I'm
Wow.
kidding. Go Warriors.
Oh, yeah. We're up.
Well,
Isaiah Thomas saying KD said their legacy was so weak to me. Oh my!
I mean,
come on, Grandy.
Honestly,
say anything you want. Just not against the Warriors.
They won, and we're up 3-1 in the second one.
They blew a 73-9 record, and they lost the finals. If
Wow.
If he does this, I'm doing it.
No. What is that you
Choking.
did? Yeah, and you hate that.
I do hate that. That's why I'm doing it. That's where people need to see me laughing.
If KD doesn't come and they don't win another chip, what happens to the legacy of all these guys? Isaiah Thomas.
But we were robbed.
That's a major if. They were 73 and 9. Who's to say they weren't going to win again?
But the only reason why they got KD was because they blew the chip.
Yeah.
So if they blow the chip and they don't get KD,
that was still a 73 and 9 team.
And they
that did what?
Back.
That did what?
They won the championship the year before.
They were up 3-1.
And what happened?
Draymond got suspended.
And
he can't hold it together for a whole year.
He came back and they still couldn't close him out.
So you think that team, they were coming back. They could have. That's what I just.
I'm not arguing whether the Warriors would have won 4 titles.
I think what Isaiah Thomas said is not wildly incorrect. As far as the legacy goes.
I feel like it assumes that you just erase the 3 KD years and jumpstart post KD. There still would have been 3 more years there in the prime of Steph, Clay, and Dre.
Right. But
without KD. But right after they won 73 games in the regular season.
You got KD and you won 2. Bap, right away. Yeah. Easy 2. If you didn't win another one until they won their 4th one and you have 2,
that's a major if. But yeah, sure. Way different.
Their legacy
but you're erasing 3 years where they had a prime opportunity to win the championship.
I'm not erasing it. It was a hypothetical that Isaiah threw out there as far as what KD did for the dynasty. He's not wrong.
Man. It's strong.
He's not wrong. Steiny?
All right.
Steiny had an opinion, but it's a little late now. Yeah.
We kept him a minute and a half.
I don't have a strong opinion.
All right, you guys have a great one. I got a haircut 6 weeks ago.
And?
Everybody says
it's a compliment if it looks like that.
You guys.
Yeah.
You got to help me with these. It's so awkward getting out.
It's really awkward.
Grandi and
the game.
Dibs on the other side in 95.7 The Game.